Hello. Good morning. Sorry I was late. I got into an argument with my partner. Oh my god, it's so frustrating. Like, the dynamic in this family is normally really nice. But there's one thing where we're very, very different, and that is when my partner wants to bring up something, she has this tendency to spend like 5 sentences, where often a couple of them are repeating themselves to kind of make sure that people get the message. And to me, that's I really hate that, because it's enough with one sentence. Just be concise and just say the thing, and don't even expect any feedback. It's just, yeah. Well, she has to make sure, and it's not like she's wrong and I'm right. It's just we're very different there. And it's the story where when I get stressed, I get I don't want to be with anyone. I kind of turn into my own head. While when she gets stressed, yeah, family scrum definitely doesn't fix everything. But anyways, when she gets stressed, she has to talk. Then it's 10 sentences for everything, where half of them is just repeating. Anyways, so the point is, our daughter is exactly like me. She hates when her mother tries to kind of make her understand something, while I'm short and concise, and I'm not sure if I'm getting through to her any more than my partner is, but at least she doesn't get as annoyed with me as with my partner. And then we're kind of trying to figure out how to actually deal with this. How do we, the problem is that she's on the swing with her little brother. She pushes him, push until the swing is about to flip, and our little 1.5-year-old might fall out, and we're trying to tell her that she can't do this. And she's like, no worries, it'll be all right. And is that response I hear you, but I don't want to admit that I'm wrong, which I can totally relate to, or is it that she just doesn't understand how dangerous that can be? And again, if she doesn't understand it, does it really help us trying to emphasize what can happen? And I'm very confident that doesn't help. So now we're in this situation where my partner is super frustrated because she doesn't listen, and she doesn't feel like she has the strategy to make her listen. And I'm yeah, but it doesn't matter. Just be short, and we kind of have to cross our fingers and hope for the best. And then it's this whole ordeal, and it's really when kids are 5-6 years old, they seem super smart, but they're dumb. They're super I don't mean to say dumb. They are not as intelligent and emotionally intelligent as they seem to be. They're up and down all the time, and it's really hard to identify. And it's super frustrating. Anyways, so not the best start on our day. And yeah, family scrum, actually, it doesn't help with that. It doesn't help me communicate with children. And my partner and I, we have very we have the same values. It's just personality. It's how we interact with the world. That's different. And it's good that we're different, because if I was like her, it wouldn't work, and if she was like me, it definitely wouldn't work. Nothing would get done, and the kids wouldn't have clothes, and we wouldn't have any plans for the summer. Stuff like that. But again, if I was a planner as well, I don't think our kids would, and my partner as well, we would never relax. We would be super stressed all the time. because somebody, like both of us are constantly thinking about something and conveying that to the other person. Like that wouldn't be nice. You need one super relaxed person and one who is more concerned and planning, and one structure. I think that's a good combination, but it creates friction, right? Anyways, so I'm trying to wrap up React states because I really want to kind of get it done, because the core concept is there. It's just the details now. And what I'm happy about now, I redid the documentation a little bit, and React states is this transition. This is everything it is at its core. So that's why I'm highlighting that, because you're already typing your state. You just happen to type your state as a single, like it's not a union, it's just a single object, where you have to do a lot of checks to figure out what state you're actually in. But you're still just typing state, right? And the same for actions. You're just typing the actions. And the only difference is that when you create your reducer, you don't express it with a switch statement. You use this transition function where you pass in the state and action, and then you have the handlers for what actions to deal with in what states. And that's it. Yeah, one thing I wanted to do is, maybe I shouldn't even do this here. It's about type safety. Maybe that's not important to express here. Anyways, and then you can export that as a hook. Maybe I don't even have to do that. Yes, so that is React states. If you have a reducer that actually has these that currently has some implicit states, you can make those states explicit and use the transition function from React states to efficiently guard actions and produce these explicit states. That's it. That is React states. And then it has some utilities to take advantage of that core concept. And that's the matcher, which allows you to match on the state and produce different values. It has match prop, so that you can check if the state has a certain prop, if you don't care about the state itself. And then you have a utility of use state effect, which allows you to run an effect based on moving into a state. And then with use command effect, you have the ability to add a command to your state. And you have the ability to add a command to your state. And when you transition into that state, you can use that hook to run the command. So this would be where you want a side effect to happen when you stay at the same state. So you use state effect when you move into states, and then you use a command when you want to run side effects within the same state. And then define environment is just a utility. It's not like a first class concept. It's just a utility for you to rather define like your environment related interactions as events and an API that your application can use. And then you can create that environment in different implementations. So like a browser implementation, test implementation, server-side implementation, sandbox implementation, doesn't matter. And then you can provide that environment, and then you are able to use that environment. In this case, I replaced the actions with the environment event, so that we rather we kind of refactor the above example where instead of handling the actions, you handle the events. And when you move into the loading state, you just call load on the environment, and then you're subscribing to events from the environment, which is what causes the transition. And then we have render reducer for testing, and then we have the utility types. So what I realized is that I went too far with the creators pattern. Like the creators pattern has benefits, but it's not like the core thing. So I'm actually doing even more refactoring now to rather use the base approach of a reducer, where it just uses the transition function, and then it's more using what makes sense instead of kind of embracing absolutely everything. Because at the end of the day, this is the thing we're talking about. It's this transition function and how you model your state. That is the core of it. But doing this, I looked at the resizer again, and in this case, I have my actions, and then I decided to express the different states as creators. And the reason is that I'm actually producing the same state multiple places, and I'm also running commands. So for me, it just when I express the transitions, it just it's more precise having these factories. Now the thing is, I'm getting type errors here, and I have no idea why. Because as you can see, if I hover here, it actually states this is the state, it's idle, which is correct. And we have the action, type mouse down. But here you see, what? It's actually wrong. And I have no idea why it happens. Because everything is correctly typed here. So it seems to be the transition. So we are going to figure this one out. Because here we get state, here we get the action. We have the state, we have the action, and then the transitions. Maybe it's the return type here. We're missing the return type. What if because this needs to be S at least. That's nice to put in there, because it produces a new state. Yes, but why the hell is these transitions going wrong? So we are going through each state, and then we create a T transition out of it. Oh, is it this thing that causes it? Oh, there we have it. There we have the culprit. Yes, so it's because I added, if you remember, if you were to include, if you have action creators, you can include those action creators in your state, so that you can emphasize that in this state, these are the current actions you can run. And then we added a type to make sure that if you did include an action creator in your state, we could make sure that you actually handle that action, which is this piece of code. But it seems that T-state actions. Yeah, maybe I should just remove that. It's probably going too far. And it's not like... yeah, I think let's just remove that. And the only consequence of that is that these actions, they stay optional. yeah, it's like this is the core API, and this thing of including action creators in your states is more of a pattern, so it shouldn't really have core functionality to support that. And that's also why I removed the return types thing. I don't think that's a good idea, because that also supports a specific pattern, so that shouldn't be in the core. I also removed pick, because that also supports a certain pattern, so that's also removed from the core. So now there's only things that actually relates to the core, and I'm actually still unsure about the environment thing. Because it is a pattern, but the pattern requires you to I really think we should remove that as well. It just makes it look like a library, and it's very easy to build that thing yourself. It's super easy. Yeah, we're going to move that into a pattern. We're going to be like, it's less is more. So define environment, use environment. It's not strictly necessary. Cool. So let's remove that from the core as well. Because I've had, like, with the team at CodeSandbox as well, it's been very overwhelming. Just diving into like the latest version of React states, because there's so much stuff there. It's not highlighting like how simple it is. And I want to make sure that it's simple. Deprecated stuff. Yeah, we can remove that now. T environment, environment context, create environment, define environment. Debugger, trigger transition. Huh. I wonder why it's all the way down there. Oh, did I take the manager context? I didn't mean to do that. Oh. Let's see. Let's get rid of the other stuff, and we can rather talk about how we can rather document how to use an environment interface. Which means I have to refactor a bunch of stuff again. It's kind of annoying. Like, I love this. I'm using the CodeSandbox theme. The only thing is I can't see what file is active, which is kind of like in the tabs, which is kind of annoying. We'll probably make some updates. It was just released, so we'll probably make some updates to it. Okay, so now the API is even simpler. It's just the transition, and the utilities is basically just dealing with the states, and then we have the utility types. Temit shouldn't be there, and dev tools. Great. Okay, we're back to the basics. Like, this is so typical me to kind of go overboard with well, I guess this is the process. Like, you find a core idea, and then you kind of pull it and see how far it goes, and then you kind of go back. And the most important discovery here was how to deal with commands. That was what really needed to be figured out, and I feel super confident now that the right thing is to have this symbol. Because it doesn't add any API. It's just, okay, if you put a property on your state with this symbol, you can use it with the use command effect. That's basically it. Okay, so let's environment interface and interface. Okay, so I want to maybe emphasize that even more up here. So before the creators. Now the thing is, like, it's up to you. Like you saw in this example, I decided to, okay, the actions can just stay as actions because we're doing mouse movement, and the power of like having these explicit states, it's actually you can just fire actions off at any point in time. Like it doesn't matter because it's guarded. But what I wanted to do here is that I wanted to, since we're using like resizing multiple places, they take commands where resizing, for example, always wants to notify resize. It was just easier to like create the states instead of inlining them. Yes, one thing I want to emphasize is type safety. So in what you really should do here when you do this is that you should add an explicit return type. I said that maybe that shouldn't be in this documentation. But yeah, I think we need to add it somewhere. So should it be, it's not a pattern, because you really need to set the, well, you don't have to, that's the thing. You don't have to, because it does type it correctly. It's just that it's like, that's how TypeScript works. When you have these generic return types, it will just need to match. So in this case, I could write like mip, moop, and TypeScript wouldn't care, because at least it matches loading, right? But if I were to put state here, I would actually get proper, it will actually yell at me that this isn't valid. Yeah, so the question is where to emphasize that. I'm not sure. Anyways, so we have, yeah, how much time do we have? Maybe we should rather, I'll make sure to document the environment interface. We don't have to do that now. Let's just remove that. I'll add that later. Cool. So all of these, creating a hook, lifting the transitions, using a base state, and doing the creators, those are all valid patterns. Those have benefits for sure. And then we have our resizer, which is now kind of embracing the patterns that make sense for that specific implementation, which is nice. And I actually want to reintroduce this thing because I want to separate, since both of them are just functions, I just want to highlight that they are commands. Cool. Let's see if it actually works. Where is it? React states. Yeah, I think I know what's making that sound. I think it's we're using Gather Town at CodeSandbox. It's actually pretty cool. Why isn't it popping up here? Oh, do I have an error? Oh yeah, it's the demo. It's using the environment interface. It shouldn't do that. Environments, browser. Yeah, let's just remove this. It's too much stuff for a simple demo. we have to-dos here. Oh yeah, let's refactor this. So let's remove the return types. We don't need this stuff anymore. We don't need that thing. I don't think we actually need... What was the command doing? Oh yeah, save to do. That's nice. We can keep that one. And we'll just type the to do here. What was it? Title string completed boolean, I believe. And we can just have an action type. So it's type add to do. So this is a nice thing. It would be interesting if TypeScript could, like, if you have a string that's all uppercase, like it would automatically be seen as a constant. That would be interesting. Like when you type it explicitly, it will be dealt with as a constant. Like this isn't a string, this is an actual add to do constant. But with when you do like the creator thing, like here you have to say as const. It would be interesting that this would just be a const because it's uppercase. Anyways, I'm not saying it's a good idea. It's just interesting. So we are going to, I'm going to use this thing because I just like it. And then type of save to do, that's the command type. And then we have our states. We don't have to pick command, we can just say, yeah, we can even do this, I think. No, we can do pick command, so you have an example of it. We don't need to... Should we do that here? Add to do, fetch to do. Maybe we could do that. No, let's not do that. Yeah, and this should be blah blah blah. Const not loaded. Const loading. There we go. And then the return type state is the return type of not loaded, or type of loading, or type of loaded, or type of error. And then we don't have this environment action. We don't need to do this lifting either. It's such a simple thing. And then we'll just, yeah. Then we have to do fetch to do success. To do's success. Fetch to do's error. And to do's would be to do blah blah. It's a string. Okay. So we have fetch to do success. Cool. And then we have save to do. Nice. Okay. So again, we just use the actions as is. And we have our command, and we're using the same. Yeah, so this is interesting. Maybe we don't need to use the, because we never really, yeah, so we have loaded. Okay, so I think we're going to show a different version here. We're just going to type it. As I said, like the reason you would go and make creators out of the different things here is if you is how those states are produced. Like if they have variations of how they're being produced and they're being used in many different places. So here we're using loaded 2 different places. But I don't think, let's just do it and see how it looks. So we have state not loaded, state loading, state loaded where we have the to-dos, or we have state error where we have an error message. So let's yeah, and sorry, when we're loaded we can optionally create a command. That's interesting. Maybe commands should always be these factories. Well, let's just do that for now. So oops, sorry. So we have the commands, and the command here would be pick command command save to do. Then we don't need this stuff. So we have our command save to do, and we make that factory, and then we just type our state, we type our actions, and in this case we are going to be type safe. So we are going to say loading here, and here we are going to say loaded with our to-dos, and here we are going to say state error with our error, and again we're going to be explicit. Yeah, because that's also the thing. Like you see here, suddenly I'm getting a type error here. But for some reason it infers that this is a string, and I'm not sure why that happens, because if I remove it here, for example, oh, there's also fail. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what makes it work and what does not make it work. So I think maybe we should just make that a default, because it is way better to do so, because you have the exact return type. But as you can see, you can even get yeah, so but if I were to remove it and I would do as const, then it works again. So it's like it's inferring it as a string. Yeah, okay, just so we don't forget, let's make sure that we actually add that. That is an actual requirement, and it gives you more type safety. The good thing is, like, I've been back and forward on this, and previously with the tuple concept for commands, it was way, like with transient, it was super crazy, because you have to say like state or transient state, or if it just was a transient state, you would just use transient state. And then with the tuple concept, you couldn't use state anymore. You'd had to use this special inferred type, where we had to introduce a new type to build that special type, but now it is always just state. So it's really coming together in that sense. But yeah, let's make this consistent everywhere. Do we have any more transitions? Yes, we do. State Rooney. And it might also be the return type issue. The reason I haven't seen it before is because I haven't been using transition inline. I've always like lifted it, and there you create this explicit return type for the whole transitions object, which might affect it somehow. Like TypeScript, it's difficult to understand what happens under the hood there. Yeah, so that's interesting. Like here, oh, we have to fix this one. When you use these creators, you don't have to use this explicit exact return type, because you're calling these creators and they already have exact return types, which is interesting. Oh, state. Oh my god, state. State And this should move back to foo. Oh my god, foo. Cool. Yes. And again, I forgot to refactor these ones. Yeah, because it's about approachability, right? You have to make things approachable. And I think that's the tricky thing with making people aware of state machines, is that they aren't very approachable. And that's kind of my goal, is to make them approachable. And it's so simple. It's just a way you make your state a union with an explicit state property. And then you have this transition function to simplify expressing the transitions instead of having like nested switch statements. And that's it. If you do that, then you're like, then you have way more predictability already there. Oh. Oh, cool. Yes, that's it. And then, yeah, we were playing around with this. So this should be, when we're adding a to-do, we want to add that, and we also want to run the command. So let's see. We want this to be still be loaded. We want our to-dos to be like this. And we want to add, because that's, yeah, optionally. Yeah, that's also interesting. Like the symbol doesn't really pop up as a possible. Yeah, that's interesting. Because if I were to do this, it pops up. That's kind of annoying. Why doesn't the symbol? That's interesting. That bugs me, because it affects the the developer experience. Like there could be a convention, you just need to call it command. That would also be possible, but you don't get any type safety on that. Like you might do this and then you're pretty much fudged. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised why the symbol doesn't pop up there, because you really want this list here to tell you what kind of properties you can use. I wonder. But what if I, let's try one more thing. What if I do this? Then it's at least wrong. Oh, but it still doesn't, yeah, interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Anyways, let's express it. Save to do. Yeah. Because if I didn't do that, I would do like this, and I would have to like say save to do, and then to do. Yeah. Which is perfectly fine. Yeah, it's interesting, these creators. In some sense, they make things more precise, because they kind of hide the fact that you need to add this like union property. But at the same time, they require like more code. Because I could express this simply as save to do is the to do, and that's it. Yeah, let's do that for now. Yeah, now it should work, hopefully. Maybe I have to restart it. Maybe it got stuck. That happens. Oh. App TSX, didn't I save it? Oh, sorry. We didn't actually do anything about this. We don't do all of this stuff. We put it in a not loaded state. Yeah, this is also something I find funny. Why isn't it inferring the... Like it says it's not the correct thing, but when I do the IntelliSense thing, it just flips out on me. But it doesn't understand the typing, which is why I'm so confused. So if I say, and it even says state any, but if I do not loaded here, then it's happy about that. And if I do xfoo, yeah, it says that it's wrong, right? So it does understand the typing. It's just IntelliSense that's messing it up, which confuses me. Because this use reducer should be able to infer state, action, state. Initial state is state, right? It's kind of funny why TypeScript is messing this up. And then what did I do here? I think I just loading dispatch type fetch to do success. And then yeah, this doesn't matter. Save somewhere. And then this would be type fetch to do's. And this would be type add to do. Yeah. Oh, what did I do? Environment provider is not. Where the hell am I doing this? Oh, sorry. I also no, not here, but no. Where is it? Is it in app? Oh, sorry. Here we go. There we go. Everything's good in the world again. Yeah, so we can do a little timeout on the success. Just for fun. There we go. And then we add that to do. It's loaded. We run the command. But yeah, the typing bothers me a lot. Why the hell doesn't it infer? Like, why doesn't IntelliSense work? Like, it knows. We have the reducer here, and the transition returns state. So it's a plain reducer. I wonder if this is the same with any other. Look at this. Suddenly it actually showed the. This is. Huh. Oh, you see that? Now it says any. But if I do. What the hell is happening here? But if I write state, then it suddenly pops up. This must be a TypeScript bug. But I'm not getting any intelligence on this. Which version of TypeScript am I using? TypeScript 4.6.3. Yeah, it's the latest one. Yeah, it's interesting. There's something fishy going on, that's for sure. But that's not our fault. We have... Yeah, I wanted to see if it actually happens. What if I do... Okay, const test use reducer. We'll create a silly reducer here. Meep string action type whoop. We'll just return the state. Yeah, you see that? Oh, no, it's just completely fucked. That's fascinating. Okay, at least not our fault. But again, like using the state creator, you would do this, right? And you wouldn't get an issue. It's, yeah, it's, they have some power. Let's see. Cool. But now we have exact return types. We have the command here, which is optional when we go to loaded, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, we are happy about this. We have an example of using a command. And we're not dealing with the environment stuff. That's something you don't have to learn here. That's something you can rather learn in the family Scrum app, which I now have to refactor. But yeah, I'm going to commit this. Let's just say 5.2. Let's see, let's commit it here. Simplify, commit and push. Cool. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm just super happy that we kind of gone through this huge exploration and then kind of dropping back into the core, which is super, super good. Yes. So the point is like there's almost no code in this thing. Like it's with the dev tools, it's yeah, without the dev tools, it's like 200 lines of code where like most of it is typing. Like how many lines? 67. 67, 120, 180. So it's 60. Well, I would suggest it's like 100 lines of code, less than 100 lines of code. And that's what I want you to feel when you look at this. You install it because you want the transition, because you have a reducer which actually has explicit states. And then anything beyond that is up to you if you want to use. Like you don't have to use the matcher, you don't have to use match prop, you don't have to use state effect. You can still do like the old school interaction calls a callback, which just dispatches an action and so on, if you want to do that. But now you have the possibility to make things more safe. Cool. Yes, I'm happy. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I bought a frozen pizza earlier today, and I'm going to eat that, and I'm going to write a pattern for the environment interface, because it's just a synergy effect of having guarded reducers, is that you can just shove any events into it, which is perfect for an event-based environment interface. And that's more like a way to build your application. And then I'll refactor family Scrum to take advantage of that, to kind of show that as an example of how you can use that environment interface in combination with these explicit states, which then gives the benefits of enhanced testing and like all that stuff, like synchronous testing. Cool. Yeah. And then we should be done. And then I intend to merge it into main so that it becomes like the official React States package. So people can feel confident that they can start using it. And then we will keep using it inside CodeSandbox Projects, because we have a copy of the package in there, but it's a private repo. And we are going to continue using it, and we'll actually develop the dev tools more, make that better, and then whatever we learn we'll put into the official package. And then at some point when we actually start open sourcing the stuff we've been building to build CodeSandbox projects, then React States is probably deprecated, and you'll install like CodeSandbox at CodeSandbox/states or something, but it can live on its own for now. Cool.